how do you see resilience?
It's really interesting because I'm over here in the US, and I've been hearing lots of different words that strike me as incompatible with what I understand and what the science tells us resilience is. Resilience is built in the context of our relationships. It's not something that we can just have as a character trait, that we might say some people have it and some people don't. Or I've been hearing the term very much grit, this idea that, you know, you just kind of battle through something and you're going to make it. And if you don't, you just haven't battled hard enough. There's something intrinsically implicit in that understanding that everything sits inside the individual and that you're just not trying hard enough. And that just is not what we know and what we understand. Resilience, we know and we understand, is something that's built in our relationships, that we are part of an ecosystem of the people in our close network, the people in our community, and the society that we're living in.
And we've had many discussions about grit, not one of my favorite words as well. So you're saying a key piece of resilience is connectedness. I know another key piece is self-care. Talk about that.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because it's that intersection, isn't it? You know, we want to do better and we want to strengthen our resolve, but we do that in the context with the availability of what's around us. But part of what I believe supports our part in that process, that relational process, is how we take care of ourselves. So that self-care, and again, self-care can sound very very indulgent, you know, like it's something like going to a spa or something. But when I think about self-care, I'm thinking about making sure that you sleep for 7 or 8 hours, making sure that you eat wholesome food that supports your system nutritionally, making sure that you are surrounded by people who either have your back or care about you or want to propel you in some way and want to support and nurture you, not toxic relationships. So self-care then becomes very much about understanding what our systems need in order to thrive and then being able to give that to ourselves. And of course, these are really complex things because they depend upon what we're dealing with, how we're feeling about ourselves, what's going on in our life. But that's the goal, and that's part of ensuring that we are strengthening our ability to not just build resilience, but to heal and to recover. And that's something that takes time and practice and commitment.
So we have all these things going on around us, within us. What role does self-awareness play in this process of recovery and resilience?
Well, here's the thing. You can't change something if you don't know that it's there. So awareness is a key element and a key component in altering some of the messages that reside within us about how we view the world, how we see ourselves, about what we deserve, about our story, what's happened to us. Awareness affords us the opportunity to be an observer of our subconscious, because then we have a chance to see what it is that we keep telling ourselves about the world. And it's only when we notice those stories that we can do something about them. Otherwise, we can't. It's very difficult to do something about something if you don't know that it's there.
And I've heard when you speak and train, I've heard you say something I find quite profound about the ability to meet other people. What do you say about that?
We can only meet other people in our work as deeply as we've been prepared to meet ourselves. We have to be able to walk a journey in order to have some idea of what that journey might look like for somebody else.
And then one of the final pieces of resilience is self-regulation, is staying centered or within our window of tolerance. Can you speak to that a bit?
I wish I'd understood physiology, biology, and what was going on for me with my stress response system years ago, it would have saved me so much difficulty. But the issue is, if we understand how we need to manage our systems, and we learn how to regulate some of those really difficult feelings that are going on for us, that gives us the space to do all that other stuff.
That was a great job covering the foundations, and we're just getting started. So tool number 1, you can only meet someone as deeply as you've met yourself.